I was 8 months pregnant, 14 years old, and nobody knew. I was 8 months pregnant, 14 years old, and nobody knew. Not even the baby daddy. I was so afraid. I went to school every day wearing baggy clothes so no one could tell. But I remember the summer right before my 10th grade year in high school, I had went and stayed like a week over my dad's house. When I went back home, my stepmom had called my mom and was like, you should get Britt checked out because, the whole time here she was asleep and, she gaining a lot of weight, something might be up. So my mama had called me downstairs while they were on the phone like, Britt, what's going on? Your dad and saying, they think something going on with you. I'm nervous as fuck. I was so afraid that I tried to act like it just didn't exist. Like I just thought it would just go away. I don't know. I was so young. I was so dumb. So at that point, listen, I couldn't hide it no more. My mom was like, lift your shirt up. I lifted my shirt up and it was like a little basketball right there, round and pregnant. My mom rushed me to the hospital and the doctor said she's 8 months pregnant. It's like things just happen so fast, y'all. Like my life just felt like a whole just whirlwind. Even talking about it right now, trying to recall just like what happened is kind of crazy because it's like, damn, like so much happened so fast. My due date was in like 6 weeks. I had gone my whole pregnancy without any prenatal care. So I was literally going to the doctor 2 to 3 times per week until I went into labor. As an adult, when I think back on how irresponsible that was, I just truly thank God that He blessed me with a healthy baby boy. My mom put together a baby shower for me. We had it in the basement of our house. And when I tell y'all, my whole basement was full of high school kids at my baby shower. I had so much support that I'm so thankful still to this day and grateful for. And a couple weeks later, I was in the hospital delivering a baby boy at the age of 15 years old. And from that point on, my whole life changed. No, I wasn't on any birth control. I wasn't the only kid that age in my school having sex. I'm just the only one that got pregnant and had the baby. I remember going back to school and my teachers and my friends in school just being so shocked, like they couldn't believe it, but they were so supportive, And if it wasn't for, just some of those teachers believing in me, I wouldn't have graduated from high school. Some of the kids' parents, they didn't want them to hang out with me no more. They felt like I was a bad influence because I was now a mother and, I would drive my mama car every morning to drop my son off at daycare and then come home and catch the bus so I could go to school. My first job was at Taco Bell. So I would go to school and then after school, I would go work my job at Taco Bell and then start the day all over again. My son would come with me to school to all the basketball games. He would come and take my spring pictures with me. It'd be me and him. It was like our family portraits for my high school pics. It would be me and my son. Giving up was never an option for me, because in my mind, like I had to be strong and I had to make it for my child. I have worked many jobs, and when I tell you, being a mother has been the toughest job of them all, but the most rewarding. I feel like it has had the most purpose and the biggest impact on my life. To any young girl that's watching this video though, if you are having sex, or if you are thinking about having sex, please protect yourself. And please find somebody that you trust, that you can communicate with, that can properly educate you on how to protect yourself. And parents, I know it's a tough conversation to have, but it is a very necessary conversation to have. We rather teach our kids and protect them instead of them being out here finding out shit on their own. And anybody that's been in this situation or currently in this situation, I just want to tell you to keep going. Don't give up on yourself. Now my son is 20 years old. He looked at me the other day and said, "Man, Ma, I couldn't imagine having no kid right now." He was like, "When you was 20 years old, I was 5 years old." I'm like, yep. It made me nervous even thinking about it. It's little moments like that that make me happy that I never gave up.
Watching such stories and also realizing that I also gave my innocence to a man at 14 years old and I never got pregnant, mainly because he was obsessed with his reputation and he's the one that actually got me prevention pills. Because then I didn't even think I was so young. I wonder what kind of a parent I would have been had he decided to not even get me prevention pills. Fast forward, I'm now 18. He comes in to set his intentions to marry me. Mom declines, something that my uncle is very pissed about to this day. And I still remember him telling me, the uncle that I don't like, even like it to be even marrying your first love. He's literally your first everything. Why don't you just marry him? Everything I've been through went through over those males' heads. Men are sincerely wild. All you cared about was the lobola money and that's it. I am romantically attracted to men. It will be strange to say I dislike men, because within that statement, I'm contradicting myself. I broke up with him when I was 22, and we were together for 10 years. You can make up the math of how old I was when he dated me. There was a point in my life where he wanted to marry me, not once, but twice. So by that logic, I would have been married by now. Within that 10 years, I observed a lot of male behavior from him and the surrounding males. Mainly because for the last 10 years, I spent my life observing and being quiet. That's why I can confidently tell you this. Relationship, marriage always work better when a man loves a woman more than a woman loves him. A man has a built-in vision in his mind about his life, and that includes the woman that he wants to be with. He settles for you as a woman and you're nowhere near that vision. He will keep on pursuing that woman in his mind. Trust and believe you me, he will leave you the minute he finds her. If you want to use both of these men as an example, then you have failed miserably. Let me explain why. Steve Harvey was a man pursuing his purpose. He had a vision about the type of life he wants and the type of woman he wants to be married to. And he was already married with kids. That woman in his vision is what led to also his second divorce, cheating, which also gave him his current wife. He stopped pursuing this ideal woman in his mind because he found her. Same can be said about Will Smith. He cheated on his ex-wife into attaining Jade or Jada, whatever her name is. He pursued her so much so that it even motivated him to becoming the man that he is today. Through countless rejections because that was his ideal woman in his mind. The only reason for a man to even tolerate such behavior to this extent is because he loves you. And that he chose you, not the other way around. This is why relationships where women give the most always end up in divorce. The minute the woman stopped giving, that's the minute the marriage ends. It would have been something so liberating had it been my choice to be exposed to men at a young age into gaining information that will protect me from men. However, I didn't. And he pursued me into becoming his ideal woman that he envisioned in his mind. Since he could not find his ideal woman, he was going to create that woman through me. Since I'm young, I'm also impressionable. He can install qualities in me which he thought was of a good wife. Such men who go through extreme length into creating their woman, he will never let you go. He will find it the most difficult to believe that he built you for another man to benefit from his labor. This is why most of us end up in a coffin. I had to jump death so many times because of him, because his mind could not believe that I could leave him. Let me even bring this closer to you. A man in that previous video commented and I replied on it. Look for it. He finds it absolutely ridiculous to love a woman, because he does not want to be disrespected. Such men have a deep understanding and knowing of how they treat women who love them. They disrespect them, they cheat on them, they hurt them, so they don't want to become those women. It's much easier for you as a woman to become the woman that gets disrespected on, because her constant needs of validation comes from you anyway. However, me as a man, I'll never bring myself into loving you, because I cannot see you do to me what I did to you. And people, whenever they ask me my story, I'm like, I'm glad I came out of it and I was not pregnant. I'm glad the way things worked out for me, because he had me on prevention pills. And he wanted me to be older so that I can be able to carry a baby full term. So this is what happens when you fell in love with a calculative man who is just very calculated and think about the steps that they take and the actions of those consequences. And overcoming becomes the greatest achievement of all. Seeing yourself overcome something as that, giving you hope, the possibility that there could be someone to love you wholeheartedly, love you and accept every flaw about you, because they exist, okay? They exist. You just need to be patient enough, allow yourself to love yourself enough to allow that experience to come to you. And even if it doesn't, this is what I also tell young girls, because I volunteer to help girls. Even if it doesn't happen in your timing, it's okay. You just need to fulfill yourself and find things that make you happy. I love animals. I love volunteering. I love just being out there talking to people about how I can better my community. I find my fulfillment from doing that. I used to find my fulfillment from him because I had no choice. It was all I knew. He was all I knew. He was all I had. So I had to create my new fulfillments outside of a man. So you need to find that for yourself. I also tell people who say, oh, well, I'll use a job for an example. I'll say, well, I've been applying for jobs for a year, but you've been with your man for more than 3 years. You've forgiven him. You've been through trials that he put you through, but you managed to persevere and continue with him because you love him. You need to have the same love for your life as well. That no matter what comes your way, you will keep on pursuing your goal. You will continue pursuing in attaining a better version for yourself. That's the moral of my story. Not for me to come out and say I dislike men. I don't dislike men. Like I said, I'm attracted to men. It will be completely impossible for me to even say I'm not attracted to men. It's ridiculous. But what's the most important aspect to take from this? That loving yourself is the greatest achievement. Wanting better for your life is the greatest achievement that anyone could give you. No one can give you that fulfillment. It's only you. And you need to take that seriously. It's that easy.